Welcome to the App Showcase, where we review Microsoft-related apps primarily from the App Store, but also through trial versions. SV MacPacks is a certified veteran-owned and HUBZone consulting firm supporting primarily the U.S. federal government. In support of our customers' needs to do market research on apps such as these, we started recording our review of them. We hope these reviews help you as well. In this video, we'll be reviewing TeamImprover's Team Organization Chart, another app from the Microsoft Store. As always, I'll move fast, pointing out what I like and what would make me hesitate to recommend this app to my customers. My goal is to be as candid as I would if talking to my own team about this app. Hopefully the review helps you and perhaps even provides good feedback to the publisher of this app. Let's go ahead and get started. You'll see that we're here on the Microsoft App Store. I'm going to start from the top left and come down. I noticed that they've got 5 stars, and those 5 stars are 4.5 rating together, and that's pretty good. Let's see if they got reviews that go with it. So there's 4 ratings. These ratings look pretty good. The reviews, So they've got 5 ratings and 4 reviews. So this one, the app crashes often. Okay, so it'd be interesting to kind of watch this. Some of that looks environmental. But anyways, clearly these people kind of like it. One of the things I look for is spread out. And this is spread out, so the reviews seem pretty positive. So some people are using it. The part that I like the best on here that I'm seeing is the version. 386. And that's going to be really interesting to see if this is like a constantly updated app. To me, that means that they've done a lot of work on it, and it's pretty good stuff. I am kind of curious on the date because I know that this app, I did a little research, and I know that it's a kind of current, always up-to-date kind of an app, so we'll see what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and go on over here to the review section. This one here, it's talking about the basics for the features. I do like how it's talking about how you can get it from different sources. This is a great different sources. So coming down, they've really positioned it for Office 365. Okay, so this is an interesting one. It's a subscription-based provider-hosted solution provided by. Okay, so this one here is saying that it's provided by these guys. That means it's hosted by them probably, and you'll go back and forth between their site and yours. Again, I like how they put in here, they didn't say it was free or anything. They said it's a 30-day trial period, and they'll figure out what the pricing is, so maybe we can take a look at that. Last thing on this page, let's take a look at the support. It's got user guides there, so I'm going to go ahead and open that in a new tab. And user guides. All right, so they clearly are supporting their customer with a lot of activity. This is great. I mean, they've been working with customers to be able to create these user guides. They know they're dealing with the customers with different scenarios. I'm going to see how some of these things look. Wow, they just got a lot of good support. That's a very positive thing. I'm going to click on one of the guides just to see what we got. Even the guide itself looks clean. It's telling me how to create new charts, how I can choose the data source, what the charts look like, what content in there. It's got the styling in here. It's got links to additional steps if you want to configure the photos. So these are all good. I don't need to go through the user guide with you, but it's a very thorough user guide. I'm incredibly impressed, especially based on the apps I've been reviewing. So that's really good. Let me go actually open this tool. So it's the Team Organization Chart. I'll go ahead and click on it. And this one I think I've clicked on before, so it might have loaded already in there. We'll see what it looks like. Because I do review apps for federal customers in particular, it's always a concern to send people away from the network that they're on. So if they're on Department of Defense's site, they're really not looking to send people out, and they're certainly not looking to host or work with other environments from that perspective, or often not. But it is a provider-hosted app, so actually one thing I might check while that's loading is it's got a pricing category here. I'm going to go ahead and see what it looks like. Okay, so it's lining it up. Enterprise It's not much at all. It's $1,000 a year for use of this app for an org chart in your organization. Okay, so it also has an on-premise. So if you need to bring this on-prem, you can do that, and that'll be perfect. So here they talk about they've created those kind of on-prem solutions for their customers because they've not been able to come out. Still kind of waiting on this guy to load. Okay, it's loaded up. This is the first screen we see after hitting the app down here and loading that app. So it comes up in this environment. The first thing I noticed is that I'm now, after clicking on it on my site, I'm now on their site. I mentioned I don't like that, but because they have the ability to bring it on-prem, maybe it's just a matter of coordinating with them, and they just put it in my provider-hosted app environment. The other thing I mentioned on provider-hosted app, just as we talk about it, a lot of organizations seem to struggle on getting provider-hosted apps up and running. I don't mean this to be a blanket statement out there, but many customers I deal with, it's just such a bigger issue for them to have to figure out how to do compared to client-side apps, farm-side solutions, or SharePoint-hosted apps. Just because of the way you have to configure it, you need people who are just a little more experienced. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this tool. One of the things that's different on this tool than their starter version is they've got the green strip at the top for that information. It'd be nice if they shoved that down below, but this is their site, so I'm not quite sure what's happening. So there's a guide to creating the first chart, enter company information, email, logos, add other stuff. I'm looking for how can I just create a... Okay, so here's one I think I created manual in Excel, but let me walk you through the process. So if you click on the Get Started, okay, so the Get Started takes us to the user guide we talked about. I like how it's linked. I'm wishing it was actually back in the their environment. I think it's automatically going to pull my company information from the lab environment here. Neil at 365 Evangelist. So we put the company name in here is SV MacPack Inc. Admin details. There's my private phone number in case anybody wants to reach me. And then data caching. I really like this. Data caching, just so everybody knows, in case you're not reading this, is it just means do I refresh data the minute something's changed in the org chart, or do I just refresh what was there an hour ago or a month ago or 24 hours? The one thing that would be nice is if they actually just had a number that I could put in, how many minutes, how many hours, whatever that I wanted to cache for. So as an admin of this chart, I could say that. And probably for me, I would say that I would want it updated. Two things. I would want it to be able to update every 24 hours, and then I'd maybe have one button that just says refresh cache right now. That way, if you get some new leader who comes in and says, no, I want the information updated immediately, you can accommodate that as well. Those aren't too hard to put into an app. And then delete the account. So, okay, so this is the basic information on the accounts. Since this is where it took me to the team org chart settings, still on their site, I'm coming over to the pages. So at the moment, I'm not quite sure what it's telling me. I think it's a lot more. This is why it requires a little more help there. But okay, information sources. So it's letting me pull from all these different sources. But let me try to create a new source. A SharePoint list. And let's call this test org data. Select the SharePoint list, and again, yeah, one of the challenges here is that it has a source, but it's not giving me an easy way to do the SharePoint list. So that means I have to go back. But if I have to go back, do I have to go into the user guide to figure this out? I'm really looking for apps to give me this intuitive nature. I mean, this app is so beautiful. It's very clean. It's kind of the new look and feel that you see with a lot of the Microsoft apps that are out there, like Delve or some of those others managed. So here it's just telling me who can control this stuff. That's pretty straightforward. I'm not really looking for this stuff at the moment. What I'm really looking for, most importantly, is creating org charts. So this is all customized stuff, which might be all, this might all be great, right? But create a new org chart. Let's try that. So the chart name is HR department. Okay, so it allows you to do it in draft right there, or publish it so everybody can see it. Okay, so now choose the data source. I can choose Azure. This is interesting. These guys, they're building a lot of intelligence into this, which is awesome. So here's the user profile services. That's how I think it was naturally. This SharePoint list. Oh, okay. Here, so maybe this is what I was looking for. So if I choose a source for SharePoint, it's coming up and telling me. Now I like that. It's giving me the intuitive way to be able to add this. Create a custom list. It's just telling me how to do it. Microsoft provides detailed overview, blah. Here's the setting. Wait. Microsoft provides a detailed overview of the custom list here, and we recommend you familiarize yourself. Looks like there's a missing hyperlink right there. From the settings, add app custom list. Great. The name, any name you want. Add columns. Which columns? Once the list been created. Okay, so it's asking for a little too much. It wants me to put in a primary key. Okay. Email as the primary. That's interesting. So email, they're creating a column called that, but I'm curious on why they're not advocating like use a site columns. But okay, so then manager, make sure they're just telling you add a picture, populate the list, accessing the team org chart, creating the org chart, edit, choosing lists, primary. Okay, I think I got a handle on this, and let me see if it's as easy as they say. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to create a new app. New app, because I want a custom list. Where's my custom list? Right there. And let's call this HR department org. Go ahead and create it. HR department org is right there. Not now. Now I'm going to go to list settings. I'm coming back here, just reminding myself. So I did the name. Now I'm adding a couple of the columns. So let's just do some of what they're saying. So we've got title. Let's create a column. Actually, let me back up for one second because I might be able to get these. Add from existing site column. Full name, email. Say okay to that. And then it also said create another one for manager. This one is manager manager email. Okay, and then they were actually, they're all single lines. This one's a lookup, so the manager email, basically it's just, it's going to look up, I'm assuming, to the same list. Using lookup, yeah, the existing email address from the list we're in. So basically, as you're adding people, it's going to look up to the same list that you're in. So let's get this from the HR department. And I think we said we want to get it from email because that's unique. I think that's all good. Create that field. I know I'm going pretty fast. I'm not trying to be a tutorial. I'm trying to be a review here to see how easy it is. So adding a picture, I'm going to skip adding the picture because, I don't have a picture. So the next thing it says, it's, let's create the list data. So let me come back here. I've created my fancy dancy org chart. So let me add some people. Darn. So one of the things I realized is I got that title field. Let me just get rid of that guy really quick. At the very least, requires, okay. And just because it's easier for me, okay. I'm just going to hide this little guy. So now I don't see him on my forum, and let me go back. So HR department, I'm going to add some people here. And let's put me at the top. At 365evangelist.com. By the way, don't email that because I'm not sure if it actually even works. Save. And then let's add some people under me. John Smith. Email is john at 365evangelist.com. And because I'm going to add a couple more, let me save this. And then the last one is, that's interesting. I must have done something wrong that John Smith can't see Neil. So let me figure that out. I'm assuming that's something I did wrong and not something that they did. Manager's email. Okay, so no, it's correct. It's the email. I'm just going to add these in for the fun of it, but there's nothing that appears wrong. So let me try this one more time. Oops. Okay, there we go. It just maybe took a second. So come add in. I'm going to add a couple of more people. Try to do this fairly fast. Jane Doe. Jane at 365. Neil. Save. I'm going to add a new one. George Washington. My 4-year-old thinks he's George Washington. General George. And then George reports to John Adams. Let's do one more here. Full name. Johnny Cash. Not sure why he's on my mind, but he is. And then it's interesting. It takes a minute for some of the names to load up. That's an Office Online or Microsoft Online thing, which is pretty interesting. I'm just going to choose John, say save. Okay, so we have our 4 people. Let's go back to my, I'm just going to close this stuff because I think I don't need it at the moment. I'm back here. Okay, accessing the team. Once the list has been created, populated, go to the team org again. Site content, selecting team org, go back in. Okay, so I think I'm just going back to where I was anyways. So SharePoint list. Choose it's doing what I just did. Choose the list. Choose the primary key and manager columns, and completing the chart. Okay. So here you go. Host. Oh, I guess I'm on the. That one's a more advanced host or web app. I'm not explaining it, but I think I just put all this on the app. Oh no, I'm doing it on the host then. And there's the HR. Next, Now I'm supposed to choose a primary key, which I think they said was email. Manager key is the manager's email. Wait. Assuming it's this guy. We'll find out in a second. Oh, I might have done that wrong, actually. Okay, manager email is the manager column. So SharePoint list, configure complete. You've completed it. Type the next step by tapping one of the options. Oh, that's cool. So now it's, I really like this. I mean, there's certain things that aren't quite totally intuitive, but I think it's because it's a more advanced tool. When you have an advanced tool, making it simple is a little harder. One of my favorite lines I've ever heard is, it's easy to make something look hard, it's hard to make something look simple. And this is a very complex tool, a lot of capability in it. So I think just a little bit of UX activity on it could really make it tremendous. I can back here while it's loading. I didn't get to this complete chart. Oh, that's just the colors and then viewing charts. So let's see what we got. There's my HR department. There's my HR department. I'm not sure it loaded. I think it's still loading. I just refresh the page, see what happened. And it could be just a slow internet connection too that I have. I'm going to go ahead and try to go in with it. It just keeps opening different tabs, so I'm going to go in one more time a different way. This, by the way, was the page I was at before it jumped over here to open it. Let me move the user guide. This page here, it said I could configure my chart. I might be opening too many things at once. So here is my HR department. Let's go ahead and click on it, see if it just opens the... Not sure what's going on with those guys. So let's see, did I do something that's missing here? This is HR department. You know, it's interesting. It looks like maybe I don't have any information added. So maybe that's the problem. And where's my manager? All right, let's see whether that did it. Maybe I was supposed to configure it ahead of time. I'm definitely running through this faster. My typical thing if I was going to buy an app is to really download it. Hey, there it goes. I'm going to close this guy, and this guy I'm going to refresh to see if finally it'll load. Somewhere over here I saw a view chart as well, so. This is pretty neat how it gives you a lot of capability to be able to change the look and feel just on the fly as a basic user. And go ahead and close that. This guy here, I can close him. I'm not going through too much more on the advanced side. Just want to see this chart load back up. And because I'm impatient, I'm clicking on it one last time. We'll see where we're at. I like this app. I would recommend to my customers that that we definitely download the 30-day version and use it for 30 days to see what it would look like. It seems super sophisticated. It seems like they took a lot of good time thinking through all the activity. So here it goes. It popped up really fast. Now all of them are loading. I think it was just a time delay thing. Popped up. It looks good. Obviously, I'm not trying to showcase how good it could look. You can look at their different images as you move forward to see how you can color code things, get people's pictures in there. Let me see if it pops up. So you got a lot of capability in there to make it look good and to be able to see people's information. I'm curious on what happens when I click. By the way, I don't attribute any of these delays to the app ever. First off, I'm going back and forth between my connection and theirs. There could be something slowing down my internet connection here in town. It could be slowed internet connection everywhere. It could be slow internet connection on their side or their hoster, or maybe there's a maintenance window where they're at. There could be a lot of reasons. I don't see a particular challenge with the app, but I'm going to kind of wrap this up because I am recommending this that I would recommend you, if you're looking for an org chart, that you definitely download this for 30 days and give it a shot. I like how it looks. I like the capability that's in there. You definitely need to spend an hour just to learn all the sophisticated options they have for configuring the org chart. The only thing I would like to see from the publishers, and maybe they can just reach out and let me know, is it would be nice to see how somebody with a little less experience and not necessarily having to be an IT or a true power user, but really just an org chart person could manage this. And maybe there is. Maybe they've got a couple of training videos that you give it to an intern or a business person who's responsible for org charts, and after watching that training, they become an expert at this tool. But as a recap, I'm recommending you give this app a shot. I like it. I hope you found this review useful as you evaluate various apps available to you and your organization. Please provide me with feedback in the comments, letting me know how I can make the App Showcase channel and reviews more useful to you. Feel free to even suggest apps I review, and we'll get them on the schedule. Finally, if you found this review helpful, please share it with others. I'm your host, Neil McDonnell with SV MacPack. I thank you for joining me today and hope you'll join me again for other reviews.